Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tungsten Tales. Obviously, we've just seen the World Darts final between Peter Snakebite Wright and Michael van Gerwen. Cracking final, 7-4 win for Michael van Gerwen. And a little bit of how that affects the world rankings. Of course, the rankings are so important for the events coming up, the seedings. So if I quickly look through maybe the top 16 players in the world, but I will quickly mention the world's number 18. Gary Anderson is now the world's number 18. I know a lot of people will be thinking, Gary Anderson, world number 18, was somebody of his ability, because he has got that Premier League place ahead. Well, I say ahead, but James Wade hasn't got the place, and he is the current world's number 6. So I'll just quickly run through the top 16 players in the world. So number 16, we have Ian Diamond White, of course. Great little run in the World Championship. He's up and coming. Very composed player, and of course this World Championship, I think it's seen him come of age really. A veteran at number 15, Mervyn King. Again, it didn't really fulfill his potential in the World Championship. He's holding his top 16 place at number 15 there. World's number 14, Brendan Dolan. So again, we're looking at players who have done okay in the World Championship. This top 16 is so important to these players. World's number 13, Kim Huybrechts. A few tipped maybe for a Premier League place, but hasn't really done it in the last few tournaments, and of course went out in the second round this year. Then we've got world's number 12, Justin Pipe. Again, Justin, I mean, he was top 8 a fair bit of last year, but he's gone down to number 12, and then maybe a surprise drop out of the top 8 in the world down to number 11 is Andy the Hammer Hamilton. Of course, he's also lost his Premier League place. Andy Hamilton, one of the most consistent players on the World Tour, but of course he's now down to 11, and now of course the top 10. Raymond van Barneveld, number 10. He was number 10 before the start of the tournament, so that's okay for Raymond, but realistically everyone would assume he's top 8 in the world. He's kept his Premier League place. Another player who's been around that sort of area is Robert Thornton. Now Robert is world's number 9. Of course he's in the Premier League as well. World's number 8, Wes Newton, keeps his Premier League place as well. Wes is 3 World Championship quarterfinals on the trot, so he's maybe not winning the big events. He did win a European tour early on in the year, but one or two people say surprised that he kept his Premier League place. I think he's earned that. He's a consistent player on the tour. Talking about a consistent player, a player who finished number 3 on the 2013 Pro Tour Order of Merit, Peter Wright. And of course we know what happened in the World Championship. He's now world's number 7. World's number 7. He's so consistent, constantly doing 100+ averages on the tour. Number 6, the only player in the top 10 to miss out on the Premier League was James Wade, the Machine Wade, world's number 6. He's constantly making quarterfinals and semi-finals, but no Premier League for James this year. Number 5, Dave Chizzy Chisnell, maybe the biggest hitter of 180s we've ever seen. He hits 180s for fun, but something else he does, he has the tendency to miss important doubles. I think he's going to be great for the Premier League, especially with all those 180s. The fans will love it. World's number 4, dropping down, is Adrian Lewis. Adrian Lewis, the current European champion, of course the 2-time world champion. Adrian Lewis is down to number 4. Number 3, Simon Whitlock. Simon, of course, hasn't maybe, he won the European Championship the year before last, but hasn't maybe fulfilled quite as much of potential. Of course, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, he was in the World Championship final. And then, of course, we have, as always in the last year or so, the big 2. But there's a swap in place here. Phil the Pirate Taylor, 16 times world champion. Of course, he won the Grand Slam, he won the Grand Prix, he won the match play, he won the UK Open, and of course was last year's world champion. But 2014, he lost it to, of course, Michael van Gerwen, who now is ranked the world's number 1 player. Of course, in 2013, he won 2 major tournaments. He beat Phil Taylor, of course, at Butlins in the final of the Players' Championship. And, of course, at the beginning part of the year, he also beat Phil Taylor again in the final of the actual Premier League. So Phil Taylor, now world's number 2, Michael van Gerwen, now the world's number 1. So the seeding will work out whether it happens like this. Of course, they've got to get there. And all the other major events, if the ranking stays the same, we'll be looking at world's number 1, Michael van Gerwen, playing Adrian Lewis in the semi-finals. Of course, we've seen lots of fantastic matches between these two in 2013 when they were number 2 and number 3 seed. Now it's number 1 and number 4, so we've got some cracking semi-finals hopefully to look forward to there. And of course now number 2 and number 3, Phil Taylor and Simon Whitlock, they will be seeded to play in the semi-finals, because that's just seeding. It never goes like that anyway, so we'll just see what happens.